delegation. Now let's have a look at the US involvement in this whole thing. Track 2 diplomacy refers to unofficial non-governmental talks often involving retired officials, academics or other influential figures to explore solutions to conflicts without constraint of formal diplomacy, basically elites. In the context of Siachen, these talks aim to address the ongoing India-Pakistan dispute over the glacier, which India has controlled since Operation Meghdoot in 1984. A key Track 2 meeting took place in Ottawa, Canada, organized by US-based Atlantic Council, a think tank focused on international affairs. The Atlantic Council facilitated the dialogue as part of broader efforts to encourage India-Pakistan so-called peace talks, which incidentally aligned with US interest in Afghanistan campaign post 9/11. So that was the main reason. The Indian delegation was led by retired Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal, a former military officer and defense analyst. Kanwal was reportedly selected by the Prime Minister himself. The Pakistani side was represented by an unnamed retired brigadier. A notable member of the Indian delegation was Ajay Shukla. Shukla was described as PMO's representative, imagine, in the Track 2 team, suggesting that the UPA government had a direct hand in shaping the discussion. His involvement was seen as a means to ensure that the talks aligned with the government's broader diplomatic objectives. The primary objective of the meeting was to draft a blueprint for withdrawal of Indian troops from Siachen, because Pakistani troops were nowhere near Siachen at all. The plan aimed to transform Siachen into a so-called Mountain of Peace, a vision articulated by Manmohan Singh during his 2005 visit to Siachen base camp. Imagine how out of touch they were with ground realities, especially when it comes to Pakistan. The G-Files article stated that the US exerted pressure on India to pursue this withdrawal, possibly offering a Nobel Peace Prize for Manmohan Singh as an incentive. This pressure was linked to US's strategic need to secure Pakistan's cooperation in Afghanistan, making Siachen a potential bargaining chip in broader geopolitical negotiations. The Indian Army, however, opposed the Track 2 proposals. Military officials including General V.K. Singh, Lieutenant General Prakash Katoch, insisted that any withdrawal required Pakistan to authenticate its troop positions, a condition Pakistan refused to meet, as it would reveal its lack of control over the glacier. The army viewed the talks as a threat to India's strategic dominance in the region. The lack of transparency in the Track 2 process was a significant concern. The PMO monitored the discussions closely and ensured mainstream media did not cover the story, fearing public backlash. So much for freedom of press in India under Congress government. Despite this, the G-Files article brought the issue to light, highlighting the involvement of key figures like Kanwal, Manmohan Singh, Shukla, and the potential risk of proposed demilitarization. The WikiLeaks reports revealed that the UPA planning to surrender the Siachen glacier to Pakistan. The leak indicated that this decision was made despite objections from the Indian Army, which highlighted long-term national security risk associated with ceding the strategically vital region to Pakistan. The specific WikiLeaks cable, identified as 06 New Delhi 3466_A, dated May 16, 2006, discussed the potential for an Indo-Pak deal on Siachen. It suggested that such an agreement might be announced during the possible summer visit by Manmohan Singh to Pakistan rather than after the scheduled bilateral talks on May 23-24, 2006 in Delhi. The cable noted that the Government of India (GOI) would likely need to lay political groundwork first, with signs including General J.J. Singh publicly adopting a neutral stance or a supportive stance on the deal to show army approval, and public assurances from Prime Minister, NSA M.K. Narayanan and Defence and Home Ministers that Indian security would be guaranteed. Another WikiLeaks release, referenced in 2011 article on WikiLeaks website, cited US confidential diplomatic cable stating that the Indian Army was held responsible for the deadlock in Siachen talks with Pakistan. The cables mentioned that India insisted on Pakistan authenticating that 110-kilometer actual ground position line along with Siachen Glacier Saltoro Ridge, while Pakistan demanded a return to pre-1984 positions. so that they can later capture it. The document quoted Joint Secretary T.C. Raghavan, who noted that Indian Army's firm stance with its political leadership on maintaining control of the region. Let's have a look at the Army's role. General V.K. Singh, as the Chief of Army Staff from 2010 to 12, played a big role in preventing the Siachen sellout by UPA government. General Singh, aware of Siachen's strategic importance, opposed the proposal as it required Pakistan to authenticate troop positions, a condition Pakistan refused. His resistance contributed to the plan's abandonment, ensuring India retained control over the glacier. The UPA government's response to Singh's opposition involved multiple retaliations against him. In 2006, the military secretary branch noted a discrepancy in Singh's date of birth, listing it as 1950 instead of 51, despite his matriculation certificate and army hospital records confirming the latter. The issue was escalated during the tenure as COAS, leading to a legal battle. General Singh took the government to the Supreme Court in 2012 to correct the record, becoming the first serving COAS to sue the government. The court upheld the 1950 date as Singh had previously accepted it, forcing his retirement in 2012 after just 2-year tenure instead of 3. Later, many claimed that this was a deliberate move to limit his influence due to his opposition to the Siachen plan. Then there is the case of Colonel Hani Bakshi. Colonel Hani Bakshi, headed TSD under General Singh, faced significant repercussions. A 2018 First Post article detailed that TSD was disbanded in 2012 after Singh's retirement following allegations of misuse of funds, illegal phone tapping, and attempts to topple government. These cases began when a Havildar from TSD was intercepted with classified information by the Department of Revenue Intelligence in Kerala in May 2012. Bakshi was subjected to general court-martial, but charges were dropped in 2018 as he was found not guilty and exonerated. Bakshi was denied access to documents used against him, including the Board of Officers report implicating him despite his legal entitlement. Bakshi's career was severely impacted and he was posted to a minor role in Ladakh, tasked with counting snow jackets and shoes despite proximity to the China border. A 2015 report by The Week noted Bakshi underwent psychiatric treatment in Delhi, developing suicidal tendencies due to the harassment he faced. His wife Aparna Bakshi stated in an interview that she also faced several issues due to actions by 2 former army chiefs. A 2020 restaurant news article stated Bakshi was targeted in a 2014 low-intensity blast at a restaurant in Bangalore where he was a regular, suggesting ISI involvement facilitated by a newspaper leak of his location and GPS coordinates during 2014 election campaign. The Intelligence Bureau confirmed Bakshi required sea-level security due to threats, but he eventually left the army after his exoneration. 2 army chiefs who allegedly targeted Colonel Hani Bakshi during the UPA government were General Bikram Singh and General Dalbir Singh Suhag. General Bikram Singh, who succeeded General V.K. Singh as Chief of Army Staff in 2012, disbanded the Technical Support Division (TSD) shortly after taking over, following a board of officers inquiry led by Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia that accused the unit of misconduct, including misuse of funds and unauthorized operations. This initiated actions against Bakshi, who had led TSD. General Suhag, who followed Bikram Singh in 2014, continued the proceedings against Bakshi, which included general court-martial that began in 2017. Aparna Bakshi, Colonel Bakshi's wife, stated in 2018 interview with India Today that 2 former army chiefs troubled her and her husband, though she did not name them, saying, "Everyone knows who they are." The timeline and context point to Bikram Singh and Dalbir Singh Suhag as the chiefs involved during Bakshi's ordeal. The Technical Support Division, now let's have a look into that, was a covert military intelligence unit of the Indian Army established in 2010 under the Chief of Army Staff General V.K. Singh following the 2008 Mumbai terrorist attack. The unit was formed after National Security Advisor M.K. Narayanan asked intelligence agencies if they could target terror groups in Pakistan. Lieutenant General R.K. Lumba, Chief of Military Intelligence, proposed the unit and General Singh approved it. Colonel Hani Bakshi was appointed to lead the TSD, selecting the team of officers and personnel including Lieutenant Colonel Birdy, a former RAW operative with a Gallantry Award, Lieutenant Colonel Sarvesh, a Kargil veteran with over 3,000 skydives, and Lieutenant Colonel Alfred, a negotiator who facilitated truce between ULFA and the Indian Army. The TSD was designed to conduct covert operations and gather intelligence deep inside enemy territory, focusing on countering state-sponsored terrorism, particularly from Pakistan's Inter-Service Intelligence (ISI). It operated with a high degree of deniability, as internal army approvals allowed military intelligence directorate to respond swiftly to threats while covering its track. The unit's mandate included targeting high-level terrorists, conducting psychological warfare, and disrupting ISI-backed networks. It was credited with stopping the flow of illegal arms to Naxals in Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh from insurgents in northeast India and Myanmar. The TSD also captured 2 high-ranking terror group leaders and extracted them to India, and carried out 8 low-intensity blasts in neighboring country, as per 2013 Times of India report on the unit's activities. The TSD operated out of a 2-story building in the Delhi Cant, previously a colonial-era slaughterhouse, and was funded through the Army's Secret Services Fund. The TSD was shut down in 2012, shortly after General VK Singh's retirement, on trumped-up allegations of misuse of funds, unauthorized surveillance, and attempts to destabilize civilian government. A report which turned out to be false by Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia claimed that TSD paid rupees 1.19 crore to one Ghulam Hassan Mir, a Jammu and Kashmir agriculture minister, to topple Omar Abdullah government, and rupees 2.38 crore to Haqiqat Singh. The unit was conveniently disbanded by General Bikram Singh, who succeeded VK Singh amid political tensions. A general court-martial against Colonel Bakshi and other officers began in 2017 but was dropped in 2018 with no unlawful activities substantiated. The shutdown of TSD impacted India's intelligence capability against ISI-backed terrorism. The unit had successfully disrupted ISI networks by infiltrating them and targeting their operatives, particularly in regions like POK. Its closure halted these operations, leaving a gap in India's ability to conduct deep cover missions and gather human intelligence on ISI activities. The TSD's focus on psychological warfare and arms trafficking disruption was also lost, affecting efforts to counter ISI support to groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba, which the ISI has been aiding, as per 2011 WikiLeaks cable and Indian government statements on 2006 Mumbai train bombings. Absence of TSD left India reliant on civilian agencies like RAW, which faced jurisdictional and operational constraints in matching the TSD's military-driven approach. So imagine the damage that this did to our intel capability. General Bikram Singh, who served as the Chief of Army Staff of the Indian Army from May 31, 2012 to July 31, 2014, faced several allegations during his appointment process that his eldest daughter-in-law was a Pakistani citizen. This claim was part of a vetting process by the UPA government, as reported by multiple sources including NDTV, Hindustan Times and the Express Tribune in 2012. The Defense Ministry sought a detailed clearance from intel agencies due to concerns about potential security risk and implications stemming from her alleged Pakistani nationality. Intelligence agencies later clarified the situation, and according to reports, the agencies stated that General Bikram Singh's eldest daughter-in-law was an American citizen, not Pakistani. However, her father was identified as an Afghani and her mother was from Uzbekistan. Imagine the situation where the army chief's daughter-in-law was an Afghani. The other veteran hero was General P.C. Katoch. Lieutenant General Prakash Chandra Katoch, retired, a former Special Forces officer of the Indian Army, played a significant role in highlighting the Siachen sellout by UPA. As a former commander of brigade on the Siachen Glacier during Kargil War, he contributed to exposing the matter through his collaboration with Shiv Kunal Verma for the G-Files magazine article titled Siachen Handout Bartering India's Security, published on November 12, 2012. Katoch provided critical insights into the strategic implications of the proposed demilitarization of Siachen, drawing from his first-hand experience in the region. Katoch informed Verma of track to diplomacy efforts, which involved unofficial talks between Indian and Pakistani elite delegation in Ottawa, facilitated by US. He emphasized Army's opposition to the plan, noting that any withdrawal required Pakistan to authenticate its true position, a condition Pakistan refused to meet. The G-Files article, informed by Katoch's input, detailed the strategic risk of withdrawal, stating that India's control of Saltoro Ridge provided dominance over the glacier while Pakistan had no presence whatsoever there. Katoch's contribution underscored the army's stance that Siachen heights were critical for monitoring both adversaries, concern later validated by Chinese incursions in Ladakh. Beyond the G-Files, Katoch has written extensively on Siachen and related strategic issue. Actually, he is one of my favorite military writers. In an article titled Not About Siachen, published by Center for Land Warfare Studies Close, he argued against demilitarization, emphasizing the lack of trust with Pakistan and the need for concrete steps to curb Islamic terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir before considering troop reductions. He suggested that Pakistan's push for demilitarization backed by China was a strategic move to weaken India's position in the region. Katoch's other writings cover broader national security topics. In 2012 Outlook India article titled Let's Not Get Carried Away, he revisited the Siachen issue, urging a realistic approach to the dispute and cautioning against hasty withdrawal. In 2024 Rediff article titled Is Kargil 2.0 in the offing, he discussed Pakistan's potential for a false flag operation in Jammu and Kashmir, noting the involvement of Pakistan's Special Service Group SSG in the region, a concern relevant to Siachen security. The Pahalgam terrorist attack happened just now. Another article from Rediff in 2024, The Illusion of LAC Disengagement, addressed Chinese military tactics along the LAC, reflecting the ongoing focus on India's border security challenges. Katoch's military career, spanning 40 years, included commanding a Special Forces battalion in Sri Lanka, a division in Ladakh, and a strike corps in the Southwestern Theatre. He participated in the 1971 India-Pakistan War and Operation Blue Star, earning the Param Vishesh Seva Medal, Uttam Yudh Seva Medal, Ati Vishesh Seva Medal, and Shaurya Chakra for his service for the nation. Post-retirement, General Katoch has authored over 2,100 articles on international affairs, geopolitics, military, and security issues, including a book on India's Special Forces, which is a must-read for all military enthusiasts. It is one of the best books that is written on Indian Special Forces. I have read it. It is wonderful. Check it out. He remains active in seminars and contributes to publications like Rediff, Outlook India, Close, and South Asia Monitor. The Indian Army emerges as the ultimate savior in this saga, a bulwark against a reckless plan by the UPA government. General J.J. Singh, in his 2020 statement, recounted how the army argued that withdrawal would hand Pakistan strategic victory. Pakistan had little to lose, while India's dominance, forged through blood and sacrifice, would be squandered. The army's high-altitude warfare expertise, honed over decades, gave it confidence in holding Siachen, but retaking it after withdrawal would be a Herculean task. NSA MK Narayan's support was also crucial, bridging the military and civilian leadership. The veterans and serving officers, incensed by the allegations, used email circuits and social media to amplify their concerns, ensuring the issue didn't fade quietly. There was also a political storm between BJP and Congress. The Siachen controversy became a political lightning rod, especially after 2012, when Verma's G-Files article and Lieutenant General Katoch's writings brought it to public attention. BJP accused UPA of weakness and betrayal. Leaders like Sambit Patra framed the sellout as part of Congress pattern, citing Nehru's Kashmir decision and Rajiv Gandhi's earlier Siachen talks. The narrative resonated with nationalists and veterans who saw Siachen as a sacred ground. Media and public perception is also another topic that I want to look into. The media's role, that is the mainstream media's role in the controversy itself, is a story in itself. Many experts allege that the mainstream outlets, under PMO pressure, downplayed the issue in 2012, leaving alternative platforms like G-Files and military networks to break the story. Sources like Organizer and Hindu Post called UPA anti-national, while liberal-leaning outlets like The Quint supported the Congress. Social media became a battleground, with veterans and analysts debating the issue fiercely. Public outrage, particularly among military families and nationalists, was palpable. Siachen's symbolism, soldiers enduring unimaginable hardship, made the allegations deeply personal. The lack of transparency in Track 2 talks and the PMO's alleged secrecy fueled distrust, leaving lingering questions about UPA's intentions. So, was the whole thing an exaggeration or truth? I feel it was the truth. there was indeed a sellout in progress. Congress has a history of ceding strategic assets to enemies like China and Pakistan. The BJP rightly called it a surrender. The UPA's lack of transparency in track 2 diplomacy and initial disregard for military input proved this point. Also, the WikiLeaks also points to this fact. Now let's have a look at Shekhar Gupta and his role in this whole saga. Shekhar Gupta, the then editor-in-chief of Indian Express, co-authored an article on April 4, 2012 with Ritu Sarin and Pranabdhal Samanta alleging a possible military coup by the Indian Army in Delhi on the night of January 16 to 17, 2012. The report falsely claimed that two army units, a mechanized infantry unit from Hisar, part of the 33rd Armored Division under 1 Corps in Mathura, and a contingent from 50 Para Brigade moved towards Delhi without notifying the Ministry of Defence, violating the SOP. The article stated that this movement, coinciding with General VK Singh's Supreme Court petition on his date of birth that morning, raised alarms on Raisina Hill, with intelligence agencies reporting the activity to government. It noted that Defence Secretary Shashikant Sharma cut short a trip to Malaysia to return to Delhi, and the government viewed the incident as a potential threat, all according to Shekhar Gupta's report, which later deemed false alarm due to SOP non-adherence by the authorities. The report by Gupta was met with immediate denials from Indian Army, the Ministry of Defence and Prime Minister's office, which called the troop movement as a routine exercise. The Ministry of Defence's official stance was that such movements were standard and not unusual as reported by the Times of India. General VK Singh, the army chief at the time, also refuted the claim, stating in 2012 that the Indian Army does not engage in such actions. The article sparked widespread backlash against Gupta, with Twitter users, including journalists, criticizing Gupta's report as irresponsible journalism that discredited the army. General VK Singh later addressed the allegation directly on February 6, 2019. He called Gupta a very colorful name and accused him of being recruited by the behind-the-scenes powers to imply a coup aiming to spook Prime Minister and Sonia Gandhi. Singh described the article as an attempt to malign the Indian Army for personal objectives, labeling it as treasonous. He reiterated that the false narrative damaged institutions like Technical Support Division, which was subsequently disbanded. The Sunday Guardian, in report prior to Singh's 2019 statement, claimed the coup story was planted by a senior UPA minister to drain political support for General Singh, who was in conflict with the government over his date of birth issue and had taken on corruption in defense purchases. The report stated that the minister's relative was connected to arms procurement lobbies targeting General VK Singh. First Post, in an April 2012 article, speculated that the story might have been intended to paralyze the army's training functions by creating fear of coup, noting that the military procurements had already slowed to dangerous levels. Gupta defended the story. He argued that if the government had fed the story to discredit Singh, it would not have denied it. However, the article was widely criticized as baseless. Controversy resurfaced in later years, with General Singh in a May 15, 2020 tweet again slamming Gupta for the coup story while criticizing him for an article on the print that urged opposition parties, that is India's opposition parties, to use misinformation against the Modi government. This slimy act by Gupta officially removed whatever public trust Indians had on Indian mainstream media completely, as the coup article turned out to be absolutely false. Gupta now acts as a centrist, coincidentally after the door shutdown of USAID funds. However, despite all these controversies, Siachen stands strong thanks to the veterans, few patriots, and the Indian Army. The outcome of this whole fallout is India's continued dominance of Siachen, suggests that the system worked with the army and NSA, thankfully, as its backbone. The Siachen sellout is a tale of high stakes, hidden talks, and heroic resistance by the Indian patriots. The UPA's flirtation with demilitarization underestimated Siachen's strategic value and national security, and there were also allegations that the whole sellout was to be delayed so that Rahul Gandhi can become Prime Minister, and then the sellout would happen so that he can get the credit and not Manmohan Singh. So this was Sonia Gandhi's idea, apparently, allegedly. The army's defiance, backed by CCS, ensured that the glacier remained India's, thankfully. The allegations exposed public distrust in opaque decision making by the UPA, leaving a scar on Manmohan Singh's legacy. Today, Siachen soldiers continue their vigil, braving the blizzards and the altitude to guard India's frontier. The controversy reminds us of their sacrifices and the need for transparency in matter of national security. Siachen, India's icy crown, stands tall, unyielding, and Indian to this day. I wish you all a great day. Take care and bye.